Yo, what's going on, guys? Jared here. Today I'm going to bring you something a little bit different. This is going to be kind of a more discussion topic about remote duels for this video. And yeah, if you guys have any comments or things you want to leave in the comments about this topic or video, feel free to leave them in the comments, because I think this is a very not hot or heated topic, but definitely something that is worth talking about, because I have noticed the attendance for remote duels has been going I would say lower or as time is going on, and I'm kind of don't really understand why, to be honest. This is my honest opinion. I'm not sponsored in any way by this. But yeah, before I jump into the conversation, I just wanted to congratulate Paulie for winning the Worlds for the US. This is our first win. I've been waiting 20 years for this. It's crazy. So congratulations to Paulie. I could not be more happier for you. And yeah, so going back into the topic. For those of you who don't know, in the topic of remote duels, just to show you what remote dueling is, this is pretty much a remote duel setup. We have your graveyard, field, extra deck, or I'm sorry, a field zone, side deck, extra deck, and deck and hand, all laid out on the table. And pretty much we would be playing via Discord in a Discord server, and then we can handle everything through the Discord server via judge calls, reporting. All the prizing is mailed to you, all that stuff. So that is just pretty much what remote dueling is and remote duel events are about. That is the concept of today's video. So just wanted to get that out of the way. Now going to the next part, which was obviously everyone knows about Zodiac Duelist on Facebook. That is the biggest, I would say, biggest group for Yu-Gi-Oh community together. And I asked in Zodiac as a poll, I asked, what is the community's opinion on remote duels? And can you explain them in the comments, of course. Again, this was a poll that I put up, and I'm going to show you guys the poll. Here is the post, and look at these results. This is so crazy to me. I actually cannot believe, as these people were voting, how, poorly received remote duels is. It's actually, quite sad. This is 146 votes, by the way. This is all just normal Zodiac Duelist stuff. But the vast majority of people, 83%, say remote duels is bad. They do not like remote duels. That is so sad. And there is a main reason why. And I will go through some of these comments, and I'm just going to scroll through them as I'm talking about it. Yeah. So I would say the main reason that people say that remote duels is not great is because of the cheating that occurs in remote duels. I think I'm going to put that in quotes, because I personally do not think that cheating is as rampant as people say. People say that there is cheating, but the amount of people who are proving that there is cheating is very, very low. There's only been one person that I know of in remote duels in the competitive sense that has been caught for cheating, which was in the finals of an extravaganza, I believe. And yeah, that has already been dealt with and issued. And I just wanted to preface that I do not think that cheating is something that is this bad that the community makes it out to be. I have seen it spread like wildfire. I have played in many remote duel events myself, I mean a lot of remote duels events with success in a lot of them, and I have never ever felt like I have been cheated, and I myself obviously do not cheat in these events. I just feel like that it is something that is an easy fire word to catch, and it spreads everywhere. And then people are just like, oh yeah, remote duels for cheating. Oh yeah, remote duels cheating. It's just a bunch of cheaters on remote duels. And I've seen people, I'm not going to say any names, but I have seen people complain about remote duels for issues that they have themselves that might not even involve being remote. They just don't understand how certain things work. I have seen people not understand how Yu-Gi-Oh works, and then they blame it that their opponent is cheating them. And then they're not. They just do not understand either the fundamentals of the game or certain interactions in the game. And that is not the issue of remote duels, right? There are a lot of comments on this, and I'm not going to be able to go through all of them, but it is many people talking about cheating. And this person is, I would say in this comment here, was talking about how there was a situation where they were in a very winning position. They were about to go to battle. They were going to battle phase with game on board, and their camera disconnected. and then the judge was forced to give them a game loss, right? And that is not cheating, right? That's not your opponent's fault. He was just there about to getting destroyed. Your camera disconnected, right? And again, this is no like hate or anything, but I just feel like it's getting a bad rep for not like its own fault, right? That's not like a cheating thing. The Konami has policies in place for when things like this happen. Like, it is unfortunate if the internet is weak or dies out, right? And then your like camera freezes or your camera disconnects for whatever reason. I've seen people have a storm on the day of a tournament and it disconnects. And it is Konami policy to give that player a game loss if that does happen. And I don't think that that is like, that's not a cheating thing. That is something that I think has to be in place for remote duels, right? That is a rule that must be there. Because if you, there's no like wiggle room. It has to be on paper in black and white in a policy, how it works. And that is how it works. If it, imagine if that wasn't there, right? If it was up to judges' discretion every time, I would say that that is infinitely worse than if it wasn't there. Like, that's where it would be an issue to me. So I just, like, it is unfortunate that it happened to this person, but it, like, you can't, there's no, like, favoritism in how the game state is, right? It's just like, this happened, it's a game loss. It's the same thing if, like, you have game on board, you're about to attack for game, and then you, like, just, let's say in real life, right? You draw a card, shuffle your hand, your opponent can't tell what card it is. That's a game loss. Like, it's just how it is. That is how policies work. They are enforced because of, like, not dependent on how the game state, just because of if X things happen, this is the result. This is going to be a heavy penalty. And again, that is not remote duel's fault. That is not your opponent's fault. That is just a unfortunate thing that can happen and you need to keep in mind. Yeah. So that is my, like, I'm like very like passionate and frustrated about this, I would say myself, as someone who greatly enjoys remote duels. And I think there were so many positives to them. It is so unfortunate to see the amount of hate and like how much people spread, issues with remote duels. I understand that the setup may be a bit of an issue, right? Some people do not have the capacity to have a remote duel setup, and I understand that. Not everybody can have the perfect camera setup to the perfect angle of a board with perfect lighting so that there's no glares, etc., etc. Some people have like wonky laptop setups or like very close camera setups. But these are scenarios where you as the person or the opponent has to, you know, be a little bit uncomfortable. And if you are not comfortable with how something is, you need to ask for a judge. That is the only thing you can do. And I feel like a lot of people will just start the game, be like, huh, that's a weird setup. And then maybe they lose in that game. And then they're like, oh, his camera was really close. He was cheating. I couldn't see his hand all the time, etc., etc. And they're like, yeah, I just got cheated. And it's quite unfortunate because I have played people with those setups and I've talked to those people. Like, again, I can't account for every single person, right? I am just one person who plays in these events. But a lot of these people, they just don't have the perfect setup. They don't have an area, you know, a lot of people live, you know, with family and stuff. They don't have every resource available to them. And if you talk to people like people and give them mutual respect that all opponents deserve, that they should get, usually I have never had an issue with questioning a setup and then being like, okay, yeah, maybe we can finagle the camera a little bit, we can widen it out, put the deck in a certain area, stuff like that. I've never had issues of stuff like that. So yeah, that is it for the setup part of it. I think those are the two main points of that I got out of going through this. That is for the negatives. That was just, it was so many people talking about cheating. It was crazy. Like, I just cannot preface it enough how many people were saying that it was a cheating. And yeah, I just cannot comprehend it. It makes no sense to me. Yeah, I just cannot comprehend the amount of people who are like complaining about cheating. And you know, and normally I'm like, okay, people, maybe they like something happened and make, you know, maybe they'll explain themselves, right? Maybe they'll say what happened. But on the same post, I said, for anyone who has commented anything about cheating, please comment here to prove that they were cheated, or at least give the scenario where I could at least be like, okay, you know, I like to play devil's advocate a little bit because I want to understand both parties. And no one commented an example of just cheating. and it is unfortunate. Again, when you go into a remote duel event, you need to at least, like, I don't want to say like expect, but you have to have an understanding of stuff like lag or connectivity issues. Like, it can happen. Of course it can happen, but it is not your opponent's fault. It sucks when it does happen. It can happen to anybody for anything, but it's just something you have to understand. And I don't think that those reasons, right, the lag and connectivity of something that is just online, and like the quote unquote cheating that occurs in remote duels, that I do not believe occurs to the rate, at least, that people talk about it. I think it is just, I don't know. I think it's just too much. Moving on to the positive note, because I feel like that was all negative stuff, and now I want to go towards the positive stuff, right? So yeah, now we're going to move to the positive stuff. Playing in competitive events, right? Let's say I live in the East Coast of the United States, and there is a event in South America, right? I am not rich. I do not have money to fly around the United States constantly to go to every YCS, to do World's Point grinding, to do all of this stuff. I do not have the funds, resources, and, you know, stuff like that to be able to do that. But I love playing in competitive events. And I know a lot of people like you out there love to play in competitive events, especially with how I feel like everyone's tight on money right now in the United States. The economy is not been the best recently for everybody. I'll put it lightly. But yeah, I love the fact that there is no travel costs. You get to play in a competitive event for zero travel cost. There is no money for hotel, no money for airfare, no money for all of the eating out at the event that you have to do. All of this stuff you do not have to worry about. And that is a huge part that I feel like is just like swept under the rug due to this cheating scare. It is quite sad to say the least. But that is such a huge benefit for me, at least personally. And I would guarantee that there are so many people out there who have the same thought processes of that. Yeah. And then on top of that, it's more events, right? Like, even extravaganzas are competitive events where they hand out ultra rare prize cards. That is like huge. That is very, very big. Like, and there's still Nintendo Switches. There's still remote duel YCSs where they'll have the prize cards, they'll give out the trophies, you know, the whole 9 yards. There's a lot of stuff that that gives benefit to remote duels that I think is unfortunately overshadowed. Being able to win a YCS without leaving your house, or even, another benefit was taking off work. A lot of people do not have weekends off, and they don't have either vacation time, sick time, or it takes forever to occur it, or they have stuff at home that they cannot like physically leave their house to do. It is a excellent thing to have, to be able to do, to be able to play at home and not have to leave your house for that reason. Like, I'm not saying that remote duels are the best thing ever, right? I'm not saying that they are better than normal YCSs, than the NAWCQ, than normal regionals, all of that stuff. But the fact that you can do all of these things as an option without leaving your house and spending all of this money, I think is a huge thing that is just not talked about enough, and definitely not warranted. This 83% bad, right? I just don't find it warranted in my brain. So yeah, that is just my 2 cents on it, of how I feel about remote duels. I truly think that they are a good thing for this game. I think that they have the biggest benefits, and they are events that I love playing in just because of travel cost, right? Even going to places near me, it still costs like money to go do those things, and that is a lot for a lot of people. And yeah, so I don't think that this hate towards them is warranted at all in my closing thoughts, and that I think that they should stick around. I am happy for extravaganzas and remote duel YCSs, and I hope, and like all the side events too, right? Like, there's still giant cards, there's still speed duels, there's still what's it called, like Edison, Time Wizard formats. Like, there's still, all of those stuff is still in there that you could get to play in, and because of these extra events that happen. So they're just more fun and formats and Yu-Gi-Oh to be able to play for everybody. So overall, I hope you guys, enjoyed this little bit of a conversation piece that I've had. Please leave in the comments what you guys think about remote duels. If you think that they are great for the game, okay for the game, bad for the game. And if you haven't tried them, please, I think, give them a shot. I think that they are worth giving a shot. And just like, again, I think the thing that lacks with a lot of people is mutual respect with your opponent. Joining a call, be like, hey man, how's your day going? Yada, yada, stuff like that. I think like a good sportsmanship goes a long way, especially for stuff like this. So, again, I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a comment, subscribe if you enjoyed it. And, yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.